Look at all this loot! DJ, none for you! Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and I know this will be the 4th video today, and I wasn't planning to do this video today, but every once in a while you order a product with fairly low expectations, and the resulting item far exceeds your expectations, and that is the case with what we have here today. I love this thing so much, I had to show it off to you guys. This is not an item that was actually sent to me for review. This was an item that I ordered myself. It is from GearBest, and the link to it will be in the description, of course. And it was an item that I asked if I could review, but it was currently on back order, and they didn't want to deal with back ordered stuff, so they asked me to pick some other stuff, and I did. But I decided to go ahead and order this myself because I really wanted it. And ironically, it arrived before the stuff that they're sending me to review arrived. Who knows? Anyway, it is this. This is a Molly shotgun holster. And I ordered it expecting, one, that the quality would be, not all that great, and that it wouldn't fit a whole lot of Nerf blasters, because it's meant for a real shotgun, and real guns tend to be far more svelte than their Nerf counterparts, and I figured that it was going to be too small for the vast majority of Nerf blasters. But there were a couple that I was hoping it would fit, so I went ahead and ordered it. And I was absolutely shocked by a number of things. One, the quality is every bit as good as any Condor product I have ever seen. The stitching is impeccable. The material is very, very solid. It is almost rigid. It has, I'm not sure what is inside it, but it is very, very, holds its shape beautifully. There are 3 plates in there, one holding it open, and then the 2 side panels, so it very definitely holds its shape, which is really nice when you're trying to draw something out of it, because if it's too flexible, then it'll just bind up and it won't come out. So that is really, really cool. The other thing that I was absolutely shocked by, because so few companies bother to take this sort of thing into account, it is ambidextrous. And being left-handed, I really appreciate when a company does that. They have Molly on both sides, so you can attach it either way, and it will, in fact, work. Now, the D-rings for the shoulder strap that it comes with are only on one side, but I am more than willing to let that slide, because I plan to Molly it to whatever I'm using anyway, so I really don't care about the shoulder strap. It does also have shotgun loops that are elastic, and you could put mega darts in there, probably. Anything, I don't think you could get much bigger than that. Busby shells, maybe. But yeah, it has full-length Molly and long Molly, so when you attach it to something, it is securely attached. It's not just a small section, it's a long section. And whichever side you're not using, you can just slip the strap under, or you can keep it out to loop something through if you really felt like it. That's the beauty of Molly, is it's so modular. So yeah, that aside, from between the construction and the ambidextrous nature, I was very, very pleased already. And then I started testing blasters in it, and was amazed at how many actually fit. And I'm going to go through a few of them. I'm not going to hit all of them. I don't have everything, and I wouldn't want to try to go through everything. But we're going to start with the ones that fit the absolute best. And it was actually this one. The Busby Double Shot fits like it was made for this thing. Which is probably because it's the most, most similar to an actual shotgun. But that one fits absolutely beautifully, and then you could, in fact, store shells in it, and that would be lovely. Not a lot of us run one of those, though. Whatever this thing is called, Tech something, I don't remember, I don't care. It also fits nicely. If you had the magazine in, it might not be quite as secure, but it still does have a long enough barrel that it gets down there pretty far. Without the magazine, it goes all the way in. With the magazine, it would be a little bit further out, but it's still definitely secure. But again, not a whole lot of us run things like this. An option that many of you are probably hoping will fit, and I certainly was, and it does. The monorail does, in fact, fit. It's a little bit more snug, but after you've, used it a while and it loosens up a bit, it will, in fact, fit, and it's definitely not going to fall out. But it does go in and come out smoothly. So that one was one that I wasn't expecting. I thought the monorail was going to be too big, but it does in fact fit. Some smaller options that didn't really surprise me. The combo lower half fits very, very nicely. And if you don't push it in too far, you still have the handle to draw from. So that was a neat one that hadn't even occurred to me until I started trying stuff. The final shotgun, this is the one that I really wanted to fit, and it does. It fits beautifully, just as you would hope. And yeah, that is the one that'll almost certainly I'll be putting in here when I use these. So that was also, again, I was a little bit worried that it would be a little bit too wide or a little too big, but this thing, in fact, impressed me. So that was the one that was my favorite. Another option is if you have a long barrel on your pistol of some kind, either a hammer shot or something else, it then actually makes a fairly decent holster. It's a little longer than you'd really need, but if you have like the stock on it, then you can put it on your back and it makes it a little bit easier to draw, which, you know, you could also put these on thigh rigs if you really wanted to. They'd look a little silly. There are better ones for that, but it is an option. The hammer shot does fit. You could do it without the barrel, actually. It would also still fit, but the long barrel makes it a little bit less silly. Let's talk about some more magazine options. I favor an Alpha Trooper, an Elite Alpha Trooper, as I call it my backup primary. So rather than like a secondary or something that I'm expecting to draw, this is if IRE or whatever primary blaster I'm using should fail. I usually have an Alpha Trooper on my heavy loadout, just in case, and the Alpha Trooper will in fact fit without the magazine, which, since it's the backup primary, I wouldn't have a magazine in it usually. If I'm switching to it, I'm taking my time and I'm switching over, and then I'll load it, and I'll have my magazines on my vest and all that, so I'm not terribly worried about being able to holster it with the magazine in it. And it's not the greatest of fit, but it would definitely stay in there. So while the holster that I currently use definitely fits it a little bit better, this one is a better construction than the one that I use, honestly. So I like that it is an option. For some flywheel options, and this is one that I kind of thought of as an afterthought, is you can actually fit, Ravens will actually fit if you have the barrel on it. You can get enough purchase in there for it to actually stay in. It sticks out a little bit high, but if you have it on your back, this would be another option for perhaps a backup primary, or if you wanted to carry extra primaries, like if you're in an HVZ and you're expecting to run into a group of people who might not be as heavily armed as you'd prefer, it's nice to sometimes have an extra heavier blaster with you. Same thing goes for the Strife. You could very easily have a Strife with a barrel tucked in there. That one actually gets a little bit more purchase because it has this extra barrel section. And this one, you could also, both of these, you could have the magazines in, so they are ready to go when you draw them. You could have a stock on here. Again, it'd be sticking up a little bit far. Perhaps if you went with a folding stock, one that folded sideways, or the ones that collapse in, that would actually work really, really well with this. So that is another option. Downside, of course, barrel drag, but, you know, with powerful enough motors, that can be overcome. Another one for my comrades out there is, of course, the Sentinel. Now, the Sentinel doesn't fit great because it has such a short barrel, but you can get one in there. Again, without the magazine. This is one that would have to be, you know, a backup primary or something like that, where you're not expecting to be drawing it in a hurry unless you have a flush cut magazine, which, you know, that's an option. It'd be something you could put in there when you have it in here, and then switch to a full-size magazine when you know, if you're switching to this. But it'll get there far enough that it's not likely to just wobble loose. So, you know, it's nice that the Sentinel has some more options. And now I can in fact hear you typing away and probably yelling at your screen to check my shotguns. And yes, beautifully, all three of my custom heavy shotguns will in fact fit. The Boss is probably the one that fits the best because it has a slightly narrower pump grip. But the Magnus one also fits, though it tends to prime itself when you do it because the grip is a little bit bigger. But it will in fact fit, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's in there pretty much the full length of the barrel. And finally, yes indeed, the Kronos one will fit as well. And these are ones that I absolutely did not expect to fit. I figured they were going to be way too big, but clearly I don't know enough about the size of real shotguns, which is true. But the fact that all three of these fit made me really, really happy. So you could, in fact, have these on your back, or, you know, you could, like I said, you could do them as thigh rigs if you really felt like it, but they'd be kind of silly. Now, that's blasters. I started looking into other options because I like to keep my options open, and it will, in fact, fit a whole XBZ if you need to have a rocket launcher for taking out shields or special zombies or whatever else you run into. The XBZ fits in there just fine, which is another one. I did not expect something that wide to fit in here, so I was very pleasantly surprised. Next up, non-blasters, non-firing things, we're going to talk about melee. That's right, we all like having a holster or a sheath for our swords, as opposed to a holster for our blaster. Well, there's a number. This is some cheap toy I got. It lights up. It's silly. The button's on the wrong side, though, and it annoys me. Oh, well. Anyway, it fits quite nicely. Now, it is a fairly short blade. A long blade you wouldn't want to have on your back because it becomes very cumbersome to draw, but short blades work quite well. It won't fit my machete. One, my machete is very long, and also my machete is a little too wide. I'm tempted to make a machete that is a little bit closer to actual machete dimensions. The one I made is more the dimensions of a long sword as opposed to a machete. And so I do kind of want to make a machete specifically to fit into this because that'd be cool. But in the meantime, my kukri, even though it's bent, actually fits quite nicely. In fact, it fits pretty much perfectly. Which is cool, and draws much smoother than the holster that I'm currently been using, which was a drill holster. I tried making one custom, but again, it wasn't rigid enough, and it would just bind up when you went to draw it. But this one, no problem, very smooth. That made me happy. Next up, for a slightly longer option, we have two of the Walking Dead katanas, which I still argue are more like Ninjato, but, you know, I didn't name them, so I don't get to choose. But you can, in fact, get two of them in here at once, and it is magnificent because you could then reach over your shoulders and pull them both and, you know, go to town, which is just neat. That, I think, is pretty nifty. And the final option, and this is once again where the design makes me so happy and that really, really tickled me about this, is we have the worker Wakasashi looking things, which are really a little too hard for most Nerf. Now, if you had some amount of armor, or you knew the person using it was knew what they were doing and could be very controlled, the cutting edge on these is a little bit hard for Nerf. But not only would you be able to easily fit two of them in here, inside the holster, but remember, if you had this strapped to your back here, this side would be open, and these, in fact, fit perfectly into the molly loops on the outside. So you could have two of them and a blaster, which is awesome. That's the kind of thing that I just geek out about. So there is that. It does come, like I said, early on with a shoulder strap, and it's really nice. It's got metal hooks, metal D-ring. It's not going to break. It is adjustable. It even has a nice, comfy adjustable strap that is Velcro. So all around an absolutely fantastic product. Not the cheapest. It is $20, but worth absolutely every penny in my opinion. And in fact, I plan to order 2 more of them at least before I upload this video, so you guys don't buy them all out and I can't get any. So yeah, I absolutely heartily recommend this particular item for all of your Nerf holster needs. There are lots of things that'll fit that I haven't tried, I'm sure. A couple of things that it won't fit, unfortunately, because I know you guys are going to ask. It will not fit the sledge fire. The sledge fire gets too big too quickly, and it just does not actually get enough purchase to stay in. And the rough cut is, in fact, too big. The sling fire, likewise, also doesn't have enough barrel to get in there before it becomes too wide. And I'm sure there are plenty of other ones. Feel free to ask if there's any that you really want to know, that you're really hoping that this will fit. Go ahead and ask in the comments. I do ask you to use some common sense. There are some things that are obviously not going to fit. But if you think there's something that might fit and you're genuinely curious, let me know. And if I have it, I can try it. So, yeah. this thing. They've got a bunch of other really neat tactical stuff on their website in GearBest. If you just search tactical or Molly, lots of stuff comes up. The naming conventions are kind of weird, so you got to search around. I discovered searching tactical was the best option. They do have some Nerf, like actual Nerf-related stuff, but it's mostly knockoff. And again, you have to search, I think, toy gun or just gun to find it. If you just search Nerf or blaster or dart, nothing comes up. But search around. They've got all sorts of stuff. Plus, I already reviewed their electronic stuff, and it's absolutely chock full of it. So give GearBest a try if you're looking for all sorts of stuff and really cheap. Some of it's good quality. Some of it's really cheap quality. I'm trying to do as many reviews from stuff from there as I can to get an idea of what is and isn't quality. Most of the items that I got for tool-wise were fantastic, and if the other tactical stuff that I requested from them is anywhere near this quality, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. So check them out. Link is in the description. Love their stuff. Love this thing. Gonna get at least 2 more, and they're going on my heavy gear, my light gear. They're going everywhere. I might get 3 more just because I like them so much. Yeah, once I've ordered them, then I'll post this video and you guys can descend upon it like the vultures that you are, like a swarm of locusts, and clear them out and make them look lovely and awesome. So, there you have it. That's my opinion on this. Thank you guys for watching.